Yay Networks.
13 has been my lucky number for a while. Like, it's always a sign of good things to come for me.
This is 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast, breaking down every song, every Easter egg, every era, and every theory. Hosted by the biggest Swifties, Nick Adams, Anna Casillejos, Amy Nichols, and Lacey G.
Welcome to 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast. My name's Nick Adams.
I'm Anna.
And I'm Lacey G.
And today we're very excited, we're honored, we're thrilled, we're happy to have Maya Thompson joining us. Hello, Maya.
Hi.
Well, thank you for taking the time to be with us. So if you're not familiar, Maya is Ronan's mom. And we've talked a lot about Taylor's song Ronan. And Taylor was inspired by Ronan's story through Maya's blog to then write an incredible song about it. And then it ended up being on Red Taylor's version. And we're just so excited to talk to you, Maya, about your son and about your whole process of your relationship with Taylor Swift and everything. So thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
So I guess I don't know where to start, Maya. I mean, you know, it's a sad story. It's a tragic story, but I imagine there's also a lot of happy memories that you have with Ronan. I know a lot of the lyrics in Taylor's song have some really sweet meanings and stuff like that. So when you think about Ronan, and he's been gone for a while now, what are the memories that pop into your head that make you smile when you're thinking about your little boy?
So he was my third born son. I had twins 4 years before Ronan. And my twins were just very laid back, easygoing kids, just kind of mild-mannered, and Ronan was the complete opposite of that. He was my little wild man, listened to nothing that I said, would be coloring on the walls, and just embodied that whole wild and free persona. I really appreciated and nurtured, and I let him be that kid.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of superheroes or TV shows or music was he into? Who did he love?
So he bypassed all the normal Disney characters and went straight to Star Wars.
Oh, good.
Oh, love that.
Thing from the time he was 1 year old, and it stayed his thing throughout his entire life. He was Star Wars obsessed. He loved Captain Rex. He loved Master Yoda. So everything with him was always Star Wars.
I love that. And who got him into Star Wars? Was it you? Was it his dad? How did he find Star Wars?
I think that his older brothers were watching it at the time. So the older brothers.
And that's so special, too, because with something like Star Wars, it's it still continues and they keep making new shows and new movies.
Yeah.
Every time you see it, you do think of him. And so that's really precious. That is so precious.
Yeah.
And so Ronan's story, you followed Ronan's whole journey with cancer on a blog. Had you had a blog before you found out Ronan's diagnosis?
I did not. And it was so long ago that it was, I think 11 years ago. So blogs weren't really a thing back then, right?
Yeah.
And I had no idea what I was doing. I remember there were these sites called Caring Bridge that people, when they had sick kids, they would get on there and that's where you would post. And I took one look at that site and it was just not for me. So I just decided to start my own thing. I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't intend for it to be a blog.
Right.
I really just started it as a way to keep friends and family updated on how he was doing, because I was being inundated with phone calls and messages that I just couldn't keep up with. So that was my reason for starting it. And then I want to say very early on, within the first week, it just kind of took a turn just became my outlet. I was in a hospital losing my mind at night with, nobody to talk to. I'm just there with Ronan, who's sleeping, and I didn't know what else to do. So I just, and it really just became my outlet, my therapy, and kind of took off from there.
How did you guys find out that Ronan was sick? Was it a routine checkup? How did you guys know that you guys were going to be dealing with this cancer?
So we spend our summers in Washington State, where my family lives. And we're there for the summer. And Ronan was running around acting like his wild, normal self. He was eating fine. He was sleeping fine. But it was about 3 days before we were supposed to come back to Arizona, and I noticed that his left eye looked a little bit droopy. I didn't, and in no way did I think cancer, right? I thought, oh, maybe he's got allergies because of all the pollen here.
Maybe he bumped it on something.
We came back to Arizona. My husband at the time, Woody, noticed it and said, let's make an appointment just to get it checked out. So I took him to my pediatrician. And she thought he just had a sty in his upper eyelid. She wasn't concerned, but sent me to a pediatric ophthalmologist. And at this time, it was getting worse. Like, it just kept looking droopier and sleepier, which if you've seen Ronan's picture, he had those like huge blue eyes.
Yeah.
Beautiful eyes.
It off, was concerning. So we went to the pediatric ophthalmologist, and then they sent us to Phoenix Children's Hospital, and we did the CT scan and the MRI, and it showed that he had a mass in his abdomen that had metastasized up into the left orbit of his eye. So it was the droopy eye that's how what started it all.
Mm-hmm.
And so I imagine when you hear the words cancer and you're with your kid, everything nothing else means anything at that point. So did you guys hit the ground running with treatment? How did you guys help treat his cancer?
Yeah, we were really given I want to say a 24-hour period to make a choice as far as what we were going to do, because it was stage 4 neuroblastoma, which is a really aggressive form of childhood cancer. And that's also the other horrible thing about neuroblastoma is there aren't really any early warning signs or symptoms. So by the time you find it, it usually is stage 4. So, we were up all night just researching best treatment options, which hospital, where we were going to be, and found out that basically every hospital in the world treats neuroblastoma the same except for Sloan Kettering in New York City. So we just decided to stay in Phoenix. My boys were there. We had our family and support system there.
Mm-hmm.
So stayed there. He had a surgery within 48 hours to remove the pressure on his eye. So it was awful. That was horrific. Started with that surgery, and then we went straight into chemotherapy, and he did really well with treatment for up until the last 2 months. But so we did treatment in Phoenix, and then we ended up going out to New York City to Sloan Kettering as well. So we were back and forth between both of the places.
And as adults, we kind of have somewhat of an understanding of what's going on. We can sort of understand the words that doctors are telling you. But how was Ronan in all of this? What was his spirits like?
So pissed off because he was so feisty, and he just wanted home, but so brave.
Yeah.
When I that child gave me the strength to get through. We would literally take him, and he would get a scan, and he would be, not sedated, and just in the MRI machine with he just wanted to listen to music. And to put a 3-year-old and just have them lie there quietly and calmly, and without being any sedated of any kind, he was super brave, and kind of just took on this attitude of being and strong, and he just blew me away with his courage and strength.
Yeah, and it's so incredible, to know that he was so strong at such a young age. And at this point in time, you're obviously putting all of your energy and heart and everything into taking care of your family. At that point, what were you kind of doing to take care of yourself at the same time, though, if you don't mind me asking?
Really nothing.
Yeah.
My writing is how I really took care of myself.
Yeah.
By writing, and I was his primary caretaker, so I was the one that was in the hospital with him for weeks on end. And there's not a lot you can do to take care of yourself. My taking care of myself was making sure that he was taken care of and having all of his needs met, and keeping him entertained, and but we would we would like make forts, and I tried to keep him as happy as possible. I always let him watch really, really inappropriate movies. Like he loved Zombieland.
Okay, great for a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Great. I didn't censor him from any of that. He loved rap music, so I would let him listen to like the most explicit stuff.
Yeah, I imagine Lil Wayne's version of Ronan would be a little different than Taylor Swift's.
Only a little.
Yeah, but like that was our thing. I kind of just let him. There was no no's to him. Basically, it was just letting him live his little life in a hospital the way that he wanted to, and embracing that.
That's really sweet to give him the best life that you could while he was here.
Yeah, always.
So Ronan would be roughly 15 now, right?
In May,
In May, he'd be 15. So what do you think Ronan would be like now? What do you think he would be into?
He would have been an incredible athlete.
Yeah.
What sport would he be playing?
He loved baseball. But his brothers, I'm sure he would have been tall like his brothers. So his older brothers are 6'6".
Oh, wow.
And they've grown up playing basketball. So I feel like because they were super into basketball, I'm sure that would have been a big thing for Ronan as well.
Mm-hmm. And so Ronan passed just before his first birthday. And, I've never had to deal with the passing of someone so close to me. And I imagine there's a lot of things that you love to hear after a loved one passes. And there's probably a lot of things you don't want to hear after someone passes. What are things that like a grieving parent would want to hear from someone else?
I have a whole chapter of this.
Oh, good.
In my book that I've been writing, just things of not to say. And
because I know a lot of times people mean well, but just the way it comes off, it might hit the grieving person in a completely opposite way. What are those things you don't want to hear when you're grieving?
I mean, I can't speak for other people, but for me, I mean, I was told everything to like God needed another angel to tend to his garden. He's in a better place. Everything happens for a reason. And those things really pissed me off.
Yeah.
Just, they were not comforting to me at all. I even had somebody compare like their cat dying to
Oh my gosh.
Ronan dying, which
That.
it took a lot of inner strength not to reach out and like strangle that person.
Yeah.
But none of those things were comforting to me at all.
Yeah. What were some of the things that were comforting to you?
I think just people showing up and being with me in my pain and reaching out just to check on how I was doing, or if I needed anything, or, can we help with the boys? Just, it was really like the little things.
Yeah.
Or acknowledging my pain and, just sitting in it with me.
Because the rule is supposed to be, don't ask somebody what they need. You need to go bring them something. Because if you ask, then it's like, well, what do I need a lot of stuff. I need help with the kids. I need food. I need everything. I need comfort. So instead of asking somebody what they need, just go ahead and bring them a meal and go see if, you need to clean your house or something.
Yeah, I think just showing up. I feel like grieving people are so overwhelmed and don't always know how to ask. And a lot of us aren't okay with asking for what we need. So just having those people that just show up for you and don't ask and just do the little things.
Yeah. So did you feel like Taylor Swift, like with her finding your blog and then, making the song Ronan, like, did you feel like that was a way that she was there for you without, like, I guess there's not really other people that could be like, hey, I wrote this song, for Ronan, and you'd be like, okay, yeah, this is wonderful. If somebody else did it, you would be like, oh, that's interesting, an interesting approach,
I don't even know how to put into words what she did. She kind of saved my life in a way. Like, I credit her as being one of the people in my world that really just saved my life.
Do you know how she even came across Ronan's story? Because was the blog really popular before Taylor found it? I know it's blown up a lot since then. But do you know how she even came across your blog?
She told me she saw his picture on Twitter one day and just, the picture of him with his big blue eyes. And she was just like, who is this little boy? And so she was like, I just couldn't look away from his picture, and I wanted to know who this little boy was. So she said she clicked on the link and it took her to my blog. So that's what she told me.
Well, I just
have another theory.
Yeah, what's that?
Yeah.
So mid-treatment, we were at Sloan Kettering with Ronan, and I was sitting in the waiting room with a girlfriend of mine. And Jake Gyllenhaal had been there visiting some of the kids. And it was around the time that they were dating.
Oh my God.
And he came out into the lobby, and my girlfriend looked at me and she was like, give me one of Ronan's bracelets right now. And so I gave her a Rockstar Ronan bracelet, and she ran up to Jake and handed him the bracelet. And in the back of my mind, I'm always like, I wonder if, it really came about that way.
I mean,
and maybe,
possible.
just maybe, we have a reason to like Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's what I was thinking.
Maybe.
That's the only good thing I've heard about him.
That's not what she told me. She told me the Twitter version.
Yeah.
But it was just funny because the timeline totally adds up. And I was in New York, and Jake was there and gave him a bracelet, and you just wonder.
That is interesting.
I wonder if at any point, like maybe if she had seen the picture first and then maybe saw the bracelet and like connected the two, or, like maybe it was both.
It could have been both.
And so she writes this wonderful song, this beautiful song, and she used some of what you had written in the blog for some of the lyrics that she used in it. So are there lyrics that you just, in her song Ronan, that you just absolutely love, that make you melt every time you hear them? Are there certain or lines that stand out to you?
I mean, I love all the lyrics.
Sure.
But I think like standing in the hallway, and playing with dinosaurs, and the one that totally crushes me is the closet one, the hand-me-downs, and then the flowers piling up in the worst way.
The flowers, yes, that one gets me every time.
Yeah.
And so how long, so the song she recorded that was used for a Stand Up to Cancer television special, how long before that special did you know that she had written the song?
I want to say it was only a couple months.
Oh, okay.
So not a long time. And when you get this call, I mean, is it just completely out of the blue? I mean, I have to imagine that's a pretty shocking phone call.
Yeah, her phone calls are always out of the blue.
No one from her team was like, stand by for Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting because the first time she reached out to me, it was her team, and it was it was in, I think, October, so just like 4 months after Ronan had passed away. And I got an email from her team, but I also had a friend that was working at Vanity Fair who used to do or always does really nice things for us. Like, she had given us concert tickets to Katy Perry a few months earlier. And so I got this email from Taylor's team asking us to come to her concert in Phoenix. And I didn't even put two and two together that it came from Taylor. That's how numb I was to everything, I guess. I thought it was coming from my other friend who worked at Vanity Fair.
Right.
So it was very unexpected when I found out that Taylor was actually the one to invite us.
So did you know that she was writing the song, or was it more like, hey, I wrote this song, here it is?
Yeah, I didn't know. She had called me about a year after I met her at the concert. So about a year from the first time I met her, and just called me out of the blue, and actually left me a voicemail. And then I called her back, and she told me that she had been working on this song and wanted my permission to perform it at Stand Up to Cancer, and would I be okay with that? And, so very unexpected.
And it's also cool that you're credited as one of the writers of the song. Like, you're a songwriter.
I did not expect that at all.
Look at you. And so I mean, your first meeting with Taylor, you said you went to a concert. I mean, was it this incredible moment, or did it seem just like a casual Taylor was meeting someone else and that was kind of it?
There was nothing casual about it.
Okay. But casual for Taylor, not for you. Casual for Taylor.
No, not, I mean, so like I said, I had no idea I'd sat down before the concert, and I'd this whole letter, and included pictures of Ronan because I didn't know that she knew who he was. So I showed up at her concert and I'm waiting in a room beforehand to meet her with my little like binder thing and my card for her all about Ronan. Because I was like, oh, maybe like she'll want to like put a spotlight on childhood cancer. She needs to know his story. So I was sitting there waiting for her and I heard like the door open and I turned around and it was Taylor and she just comes running towards me and she was like, Maya, I am so sorry about everything and I'm so in love with Ronan and you, and I've never seen a love story like the two of yours, and I've been following your blog and my parents have been following it, and I mean she knew everything. She was like rambling off statistics about childhood cancer nobody knows. And so she was really invested in his story and what he had gone through, and it came from the most genuine place.
Oh my gosh, I'm like crying like right now just hearing you like retell this story.
And she wrote this song, but she asked for your permission the whole way through. She wanted to make sure that this was something that you approved of and that you supported it. She didn't just do this for any ill intent.
Yeah, she's amazing all around. But yes, she's been very great about making sure that I've always been super comfortable with everything.
And then, I mean, you fast forward a few years and you hear about everything that happened with her records and like her not owning her masters and things like that. Did you kind of, I mean, we as fans obviously were like, yes, we want Taylor to own her music, but did you feel an even more of a connection because of the song Ronan? Like, you're like, no, that is like yours and Taylor's songs. That shouldn't belong to anybody else. Like, did you just kind of feel an extra level of Taylor should own her masters?
When I tell you I had like a solid 3 months of sleepless nights.
Yeah.
And around my house. And I mean, there was a lot going on here. I was irate. I was heartbroken. I was so concerned and worried for her well-being. And then to know and to think that somebody else was, and especially like those fucking people, sorry, were going to like, own my son in a way.
Yeah.
No, I was livid, but I knew that she was going to find a way to get her music back because that's who she is, right? But I was not so sure that she was going to include Ronan on that.
Really?
Yeah, and you're in such a tough spot because you don't really have a say where that song goes, who owns it, and now here you are just kind of stuck in the middle after everything you've already been through. I can imagine that's a pretty helpless feeling.
Yeah, and it was, but I was also like, had kind of myself to put that away, and my main concern was that she was going to be okay.
Yeah.
And
like,
then,
I just know that in the end, like, she was going to be okay.
So if you fast forward again after the whole Masters thing, we're fast forwarding a lot. And then we find out she's doing the re-recording. Like you said, you had absolutely no idea that this was going to be included on any of her albums?
No, not at all. Not until I got an email from her. Actually, Tree reached out to me.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, famous Tree. You get
that
to
is
talk
so
to Tree.
cool.
And so how long, what's that timeline like? She emails you, and then when does she announce the track list, or how did that work for Red Taylor's version?
So Tree texted me first, and I called her back within like an hour, and she just said, Taylor wants to send you an email about something. I just want to make sure I've got all of your info right. Said yes, great. So spent the next like hour anxiously awaiting my girlfriend, or an email, had called my girlfriend, and we were like going through all of these theories of what it could be, like what email. Still not really like thinking it was going to be about the song and going on an actual album. So got that email about an hour later, and burst into hysterics and just completely shocked and surprised and so thankful. But she wanted my approval to make sure that it was okay.
Wow.
So I very quickly the box yes on that. And then I think that she dropped the track album songs like a couple months later.
Yeah. Man, how exciting. Very cool.
Honestly.
And Taylor has not performed this song very much. It's only been a handful of times, right?
It's been twice.
Yeah. 2 times she's
Yeah.
performed this song. That's how special it is to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so, now you and Ronan lives on in kind of this pantheon of great Taylor Swift songs that we can all look to and turn to when we are having those tough times. So when's the last time you listened to Ronan?
So I had a really hard time listening to it before she re-recorded it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't get through that song without breaking down. So I really didn't listen to it very often. But since the re-release, I listened to it so much.
Really?
Mm.
What do you think it is that like about the re-recorded version that you feel like you can listen to that one?
I think it just embodies like so much strength for me because of the fact that she did re-record it and she overcame this huge obstacle in her life.
Mm-hmm.
So this song is just kind of has this new purpose to me. Like it really motivates me. I mean, I still really can't get through it without crying, but now I'm not having over my car like on the side of the road,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm able to actually get through it, and it just has like such a, I don't know. I just feel like this version is it's just so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
There's something like a little different about it. And maybe it's part of like me that I, where I am in my life.
Yeah.
That I'm a little bit stronger and I've had some time. So.
And the thing that blows me away about this, it's a beautiful song, beautiful lyrics, but with the re-recording, we got this amazing slideshow with the lyric video that she put out, full of these bright, beautiful blue eyes that you're talking about with your Ronan. And so how many pictures did you send Taylor Swift to make this slideshow?
That was a whole other thing.
Yeah, because it's the entire music video, and it's so great, and all of them are just perfect. So I bet it was probably hard to narrow down, like, okay, I'm going to send these 40 pictures.
I think a solid like week of kind of being in a fetal position over that.
Yeah.
It was horrifically hard. I opened up a computer that I hadn't looked at in like 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, to go through like pictures and videos of Ronan that I hadn't looked at them in so long.
Yeah.
I'm sure a bunch you'd even forgotten about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I had my little like 8-year-old daughter here with me at the time. And I would be like in my bedroom on the floor, like spending hours going through this stuff. And she would see me like hysterically like crying. I mean, it was a lot. And, she would just come and like wrap her arms around me and just give me the little pep talk that I needed. And I also got to sit there with her and show her things that she hadn't seen of Ronan. But I probably sent Taylor, I would say like 50 or 60 videos. And I kind of take control of the ones that she wanted to use and put in the video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are ways that you and your family remember Ronan? Like you had said, you were showing your younger daughter who didn't know Ronan pictures and telling him stories. What are ways that you remember him to keep his spirit alive in your house? Apart from the song, which is great, but I mean in your house, how do you remember him?
I mean, he's part of our everyday conversations still.
Yeah.
And we always do something special on his birthday, which usually involves doing stuff for other people. So just, helping others or volunteering or, going to a shelter and dropping off food, just things like that. Just anything that's kind and nice and can help others get through the day. Like that's really what we do on his birthdays. And the day that he died, we all go away together and out of town, or we do a hike, just something, so we can all be together and get through the day.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the foundation?
Sure. So I formed the Ronan Thompson Foundation after he was diagnosed with cancer. And I mean, we really just pour our money into funding new research for neuroblastoma. So I've kind of zoned in on a few different hospitals and doctors that are trying to find a breakthrough with this disease and not just doing the same old stuff that sometimes work, but not always.
I'm really interested in new research. Is there something, you can get as specific as possible, but like what are you hoping could be kind of the next few steps in research? Is there something out there that's really exciting that you have your eye on?
I mean, there's one doctor named Dr. Giselle, and she's kind of doing something a little bit different, and just different therapeutic methods, stuff that's not so toxic. So I'm really hoping that somebody can get this disease figured out. Shouldn't be such a death sentence.
Yeah.
You know, like leukemia. I think childhood leukemia has like a 98 or 99% cure rate. I mean, I would love it if that could be the case for all childhood cancers.
Yeah. I know, like, you know, obviously with everything that you've been through and with the song, like you feel support from like Taylor and your family. Have you felt support from like other Taylor Swift fans as well? Like just from the fandom, from Swifties, like online? Do you feel like we have your back? Because that's the goal.
You guys are the best. There's no better fan base out there than the Swifties.
Oh, good.
Were you even a fan of Taylor Swift before all this happened?
No.
Okay. Awesome.
No.
And look at you now. I'm sure you're a very big fan at this point.
Now I am a super fan. I mean, I didn't really listen to any of her music.
Yeah, I mean, and why would you? It wasn't really in your wheelhouse at the time. You're not in the right age group. And
I mean, I'm sure if I had like 3 little girls, we would have been all over it. But my boys weren't listening to it. So I knew who she was. I knew some of her songs, but I was not this huge Taylor Swift fan. I mean, but now I am.
Are your boys and your daughter, are they Swifties now as well?
They are Swifties now. Yeah. Yeah.
I read this quote that you gave in an interview, and it just really touched my heart. It said, Taylor and Ronan are not from this world, or they've been here before, and this is just their little master plan to make sure that I'm okay. It just seems like when I'm going through my hardest times in life, either I'll get a sign from Ronan, or Taylor will go and do something crazy out of the blue. It's like she knows when I'm hurting. I just thought that was so incredible to say that, because she is always up to something, and the fact that now you have that big tie to her. I just think that that's sweet that you're still feeling the love from Ronan and from Taylor even now.
It is. It's been a 10-year love story with her.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
It's been so true. Like my life ebbs and flows in ways where, you know, some years are harder than others. And it is like she knows if I'm in a dark place, or she'll like reach out or just do something, you know, crazy, unexpected, like the re-release of Ronan.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're all connected, and those two are definitely taking care of me.
That's beautiful. That really is beautiful.
Yeah, glad you're being taken care of too.
Yeah. And we're so glad that you still blog, and you said you're working on a book. Like it really shows like just how strong of a person you are, a wonderful person, incredible. Like you want to help others, your foundation, everything. And we really just can't thank you enough for opening up with us on this podcast, and just like the fans like in general, just over the last few years. So thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me, and for always being so loving and supportive, and for loving Ronan, and, you know, letting him change you guys and inspire you. That's all I want, is for this story to continue to help other people.
That's awesome. And, you know, like you're saying, it's not easy. This is not something that someone wants attention for. And you say that you're still having a hard time. It's something that you're always going to be grieving. But like we've said, it is helping a lot of people to grieve. It is helping a lot of people to remember the people that they have lost. So you are doing a service to other people, even though it's still tough for you and your family. So we thank you for that.
And help spread awareness too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you guys.
So Maya, one more time, let's give your blog a little shout out.
It's rockstarronan.com.
And we can follow you and keep up with you there. So thanks again for joining us, and we can't wait to see what else Taylor has in store. I'm sure she's going to do something else with Ronan down the road. We'll see. It'll be another 10 years, and she'll give you an email, and your life will change again forever.
Love it. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you so much,
Thank
Maya.
you so
Bye,
much, Maya.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for listening to 13, a Taylor Swift fan podcast. Subscribe for free and leave a positive review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts.